discuss it. So I will request devotees to read one paragraph each. So this shloka, maybe somebody is not familiar, I can read the shloka. It is from Chaitanya Charitamrita. We have discussed it many times. It says, Brahmanda Brahmide Kono Bhagyavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Beach. Okay, you can repeat after me. Brahmanda Brahmide Kona Bhagyavan Jiva.
Brahmanda Brahmithe Kona Bhagyavan Jiva.
Yeah, all devotees can repeat, please. Brahmanda, or one by one say Brahmanda.
Brahmanda
Brahmite
Brahmite
Kona
Kona
Bhagyavan
Bhagyavan
Jiva
Jiva
Guru Krishna Prasade
Guru Krishna Prasade
Paya
Paya
Bhakti Lata Bija.
Bhakti Lata Bija.
Brahmanda Brahmide Kona Bhagyavan Jiva
Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jiva
Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bija.
Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bija.
Brahmanda Brahmide Kona Bhagyavan Jiva
Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jiva
Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bija.
Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bija.
Or Anju Mataji is left, I think, no? Okay, she has left. Yeah, so this is actually in Bengali. It's coming from Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's written by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So this sloka is very important, actually. I think we should all try to remember and by heart. It's not very difficult to remember, right? It's saying that Brahmanda, it's all mostly Sanskrit only. Brahmanda is actually universe, or no, or universes. Brahmite means to revolve, or no. Kona means cone. In Hindi is cone, you say, right? Bhagyavan, everybody knows, right? Bhagyavan means more fortunate. Jiva is Jiva. Guru Krishna, Guru and Krishna. Prasad means by their mercy. Paya, same thing in Hindi, right? Pana. Bhakti Lada means creeper. Lada is a plant or creeper, and Bhakti creeper, Bij seed. So, yeah, what it means is that after wandering through innumerable universes, a fortunate person, he, by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, he gets a seed of devotional service, is what actually is the meaning. Okay, so somebody can read, continue reading the paragraph, one paragraph at a time, one devotee can read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, shall I read Prabhuji?
Sure, Mataji.
Okay. Lord Chaitanya explained that of the many thousands and millions of living entities wandering in the material world, one who, by the grace of Lord Krishna and the spiritual master, gets the seed of devotional service is very rare and fortunate. A pious or religious man is generally inclined to worship deities in various temples, but if by chance, even without his knowledge, he offers his obeisances to Lord Vishnu or receives the favor of a Vaishnava, a devotee of the Lord, he at that time acquires the asset necessary to approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is clearly understood from the life story of the great sage Narada, which is related in Srimad Bhagavatam. By serving Vaishnavas in his previous life, Narada was favored by the devotees of the Lord and became a great sage. Indeed, amongst sages, Narada Muni is considered to be the greatest. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah, thanks, Mataji. Somebody else can read the next paragraph.
May I, Prabhuji?
Sure, Mataji.
Thus, by the mercy of the spiritual master
No,
and
Mataji,
Krishna.
the previous paragraph. I think I a little bit scrolled. Sorry. So here from Vaishnavas.
Vaishnavas or devotees are usually very compassionate upon conditioned souls. Without even being invited, a devotee will go from door to door to enlighten people and to bring them out of the darkness of nescience by injecting knowledge of the living entity's constitutional position as a servant of Lord Krishna. Such devotees are empowered by the Lord to distribute devotional consciousness or Krishna consciousness to the people in general. They are known as authorized spiritual masters, as it is by their mercy that a conditioned and soul gets the seed of devotional service. The causeless mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is first appreciated when one comes in touch with a bona fide spiritual master who can bring the conditioned soul to the highest position of devotional life. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya said that by the mercy of the spiritual master, one can achieve the causeless mercy of the Lord, and by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can attain the mercy of the bona fide spiritual master. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes. So, last paragraph. Any other devotee can read?
Prabhuji, I'll read.
Sure, Mataji.
Thus, by the mercy of the spiritual master and Krishna, one receives the seed of devotional service. He has only to sow the seed in the field of his heart, just as a gardener sows the seed of a valuable tree. After sowing this seed, one has to water it in the form of chanting and hearing the holy name of the Supreme Lord, or by taking part in discussions about the science of devotional service in a society of pure devotees. When the plant of devotional service sprouts up from the seed of devotion, it begins to grow freely. When it is fully grown, it surpasses the length and breadth of this universe and enters into the transcendental atmosphere where everything is bathed in the effulgence of the Brahmajyoti. The plant even penetrates this Brahmajyoti and gradually enters the planet known as Goloka Vrindavan. There, the plant takes shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. That is the ultimate goal of devotional service. After attaining this position, the plant produces fruit, which is known as the fruit of love of Godhead. However, it is necessary for the devotee or transcendental gardener to pour water on the plant daily by chanting and hearing. Unless one waters the plant by chanting and hearing, there is every chance that it will dry up. From Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Chapter 1, Teachings of Rupa Goswami. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Okay, so this topic no, is very, very important topic. Okay, but at the same time, no, I think it's. I hope it is easy to understand, right? So I would request devotees, no, to maybe we can start go paragraph by paragraph. First paragraph, devotees can say what are the important points they observed and what actually they liked, or no, or they want to comment or they have a question. So we'll start with first paragraph. I would request all devotees to actively participate because no, this BhaktiVriksha, as I mentioned many times, right? It is not a class or a lecture. It's not supposed to be a lecture or class. No, it has to be an interactive session where everybody actually discuss the points, right? Because why it is important, we have discussed, right? So anybody is comfortable. I mean, somebody is not comfortable, that's fine. But I think gradually we should be comfortable in discussing. The thing is that it will help two things actually. It will actually it will help to the establish the facts clearly in our mind. We will be very thoroughly understanding each and every aspects of this. And second is that this also helps us to gradually to get the confidence to preach to others. So these two aspects are important involved. So because of which if you everybody has to participate actually as much as possible. Yeah. So don't be reluctant, please. Okay. So who want to start first? What are the important point in the first paragraph?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Am I audible?
Yeah, we can hear you, Mataji. Revati Mataji. Yes.
Shall I?
Yes.
I will do in the last Prabhuji.
You only volunteer. And I thought you were going to tell something.
No, I wanted to say, but I thought then rest all the devotees have to get a
You, you,
chance.
you can tell one point, Mataji, to start, and then others will
Okay,
join.
Prabhuji. Okay, Prabhuji. What I understood is one soul, Prabhuji. If we get the grace of the Lord and the Supreme Master, that devotional service, the seed will is seated in a very rare and a fortunate soul, and that soul can be or that living I could say a man or woman, a devotee can be can reach to that level by at least with or without knowledge, by going to the deity or a temple of Vishnu, or by doing any seva or favor to any Vaishnava. He can achieve without his knowledge uh, the ne- uh, the necessary knowledge to approach the Lord, Prabhuji, if
Yes,
I'm putting
Mataji.
it right.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So
Hare
this
Krishna,
point,
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Mataji. So what others, like anybody wants to add, or they have any questions on this particular point which Mataji mentioned? So what is the main important different aspects, in these particular statements, whichever the first statement, right? Let us see the one first statement. So basically, the what is it talking about? And
Beginning
somebody,
of devotional service, Prabhuji.
yeah. And what about devotional service? Like what is the emphasis here?
The emphasis is that we cannot do it without the God's grace, Lord Krishna's grace, and the help of the spiritual master. These
Yes.
two will help you to start on your journey of your devotional service. So even if you are not knowing about it, and still you are, deity worship doesn't get you there. So in spite of that, if even when you hear someone in the temple or anything like that, when you're doing devotional service, deity worship, even by unknowingly, if you are just taking out the God's name or chanting, you'll automatically be on the journey of the devotional service. And here they've given the important thing of Narada that we had done in earlier, Prabhuji, that actually he had fallen down and he had become the son of the maid. But when he was there, during the Chaturmas, a lot of these sages came and stayed at his house. And he used to sit with them and listen to their stories, and then he would serve them. And with their permission, he would even eat their remnants. So it will be
Yes.
like prasad. So he
Yeah.
knew that was the beginning of his service, because he was hearing. He was hearing and spending a lot of time with them. So that's how. And after they left, and then his mother passed away, and then he left everything and he went to the forest for meditation. So when he in next life, because of his serving the Vaishnavas in his earlier life, he became a great sage. So that's why he is among the topmost sages uh, in this paragraph, Prabhuji. He said he's the topmost sage,
Yes,
because
Mataji.
only by serving the Vaishnavas, in his home when they were staying with him, that's how he got the seed of devotional service in him.
Yes, Mataji. Very nice. Okay. Any other points? Anybody has any questions? What Mataji mentioned? No. Is it clear? Any questions are there? Any doubts? Or anybody wants to add something more? Sandhya Mataji, are you there? Is she there? She's left. Okay. Many people left. Okay, good. So yeah, so maybe I'll just try to summarize what the devotees have told. So in the first line, no, the most important aspect is that the rarity of the devotional service. So the entire topic, today's topic is the most fortunate soul, right? That's what we're discussing. So the very important one important aspect in the first paragraph and in the first line is the how rare actually this devotional service is. Because see, we know that many times we discuss that how many different types of bodies or how many type of species according to Vedic scriptures.
40 lakhs, Prabhuji.
Yeah, somebody else can try.
84 lakh species, Prabhuji.
Yes, 84 lakh species. No, there are 84 lakh species of different living entities that actually in our like many people know about it. So in Padma Purana it is described. What are the different categories? How many of them are human beings? How many of them are aquatics? How many of them are trees? I don't remember actually. Like it says Jalaja, Navalakani, Stavara, like that it goes actually. So in the water there are 9 lakhs. Like that it gives a division. So basically there are total 84 lakh species according to Vedic scriptures. In that the human life is very rarely obtained, right? And once you miss the human life, then you have to go through wander through so many different bodies. That is one aspect. And also not only that, no, we have to we have to revolve in the universe. Sometimes you are in the higher planet as devatas, sometimes you are in the, sometimes you become an animal, sometimes you are in the lower planet, sometimes you become Lord Brahma, sometimes you become Indra. Like that you keep revolving in the universe, right? And many, there are innumerable universes. So you, after wandering through so many different lifetime bodies, and after wandering through so many different universes, then one get a chance to become a devotee of the Lord, right? So imagine how rare it is. So millions of lifetimes, after millions of lifetimes, a soul, a jivatma, by, if he's fortunate, what happens? He gets the association of a devotee. That is what is mentioned, right? Brahmanda Brahmide Kono Bhagavan Jiva Guru Krishna Kripa Paye Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Beach. So then the next point is mentioned is that who is eligible to get the mercy of the Lord, right? So what is the answer? Who is eligible to get the mercy of the Lord is mentioned in the second line. Who is eligible?
The fortunate devotee, Prabhuji.
Yes. So what is fortunate? What is a fortune? We discussed in
He
the beginning of
must
the
have
session.
done some punya,
Yes.
punya karma.
Yes. So we discussed in the beginning of the chanting session also, right? Talk. Why? Because different devotees are at different stages. Because no, we have already done some of the activities in the past life. That's why we are able to chant. I mentioned, right? So somebody, we have done some sukriti, right? But on the other hand, Krishna is saying that just by doing sukriti, you cannot attain him. Okay, but actually this is kind of, many times it's a prerequisite, right? But just because you do just because by doing punya karma, only by doing punya karma you cannot attain him, because unless and until Lord actually decide to show his mercy, we cannot attain by our own endeavor. We can't attain the Lord, but nevertheless this punya actually, or the sukriti is required, right? So, and many, there are many stories in the Puranas, right, which actually tells that, even unknowingly, like there is a story of a thief, who actually steals the Lord's ornaments, right? He was a thief, but but actually, he, sometimes he did some activity which actually the Lord considered as a service, right? So he may done, somebody might have just slept in the temple of Vishnu and then he passed away. So these are called agyara sukriti, like unknowingly doing some pious activity. But some of this, any of this pious activity, right? Even if you do something unknowingly, this kind of pious activity sometimes make one eligible to get the mercy of the Lord, right? No, he actually, they comes in contact with a pure devotee. The story of Narad Muni, no, or Chitra Mataji mentioned, right? So that's a very important. It's a very important story actually. It is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. That how Narad Muni actually, he just by serving the Vaishnavas, right? But in his case, yeah, initially he did not know, because he was a maid servant son and he did not know the importance of serving the Vaishnava. But nevertheless, actually, just because of his, what you call, because of his inclination, he actually served them nicely, taking care of them, right? And because of that activity, he became a great sage, right? So that by Lord's arrangement. So the point is that it's very very rarely obtained, by, so how it's like, like in millions and millions of people, hardly one get a chance to associate with a pure devotee. So that we have to consider this as a very rare opportunity, and because we are already here now, reading this and chanting the holy names of the Lord, we should consider us ourselves to be very very fortunate, and we should have done some activity maybe in the past life. And also sometimes it is without this pious activity also somebody becomes a devotee. That is by the mercy of pure Vaishnava. A Vaishnava, even though you are not qualified, sometimes a pure devotee will show his mercy. Like for example, the story of Valmiki is there, who has written Ramayana, right? He was a hunter actually. Then there is a story of Mrigari, another hunter, right? So the same Mrigari I think becomes Valmiki, right? So basically, he used to kill the animals in the half, right? So like that, there are many many stories where the people who are unqualified also, some devotee, pure devotee, actually just shows the mercy to them. So that is always an exception, right? But the general rule is that no, we have done some pious activity, knowingly or unknowingly. But no, sometimes exceptions are there when devotees, but we cannot wait for the exception to happen, right? We should actually go by the rule. So that this is just the understanding actually. So since we are already here, we should consider ourselves very very fortunate, no, and very very rare, no, very rarely it is obtained. Okay, the next paragraph. What are the important points?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Mataji.
Uh, the previous whatever you have mentioned is been again mentioned here, Prabhuji. The causeless mercy of God is first given by our spiritual master. Only when we go through our spiritual master, we get the mercy of the Lord. As prasadam also, I remember it was being mentioned that even we keep the prasadam directly to the Lord will not take it, and we have to give it through spiritual master.
Yes.
And that's the point I get from this, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
And that is because they don't have their own anything for their self, as it is already mentioned. Like they try to relieve the conditioned soul. That is the only business of the spiritual masters. They don't bother about themselves, or they don't even in spite of getting insults or something, they keep walking to unknown people and they keep preaching about the Lord, and they try to relieve all the souls from this material world. Such an unconditional what to say, Prabhuji, unconditional
Service.
service that our spiritual master does when we fall into their feet, like they say, it's the servant of the Lord. So if we go through them, the Lord will be even more merciful, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Anybody else? The first part. So the first part of the paragraph, what it says. Somebody else can tell.
Prabhuji, the work of the Vaishnavas is to preach. They will
Hmm.
go everywhere, and as many people as they find, they will try to tell them about Krishna and get them into Krishna consciousness. Because then onwards, with the help of the spiritual masters, they can go forward, and with the mercy of this Supreme Personality of Godhead, they will reach the highest position of devotional life. That is prema.
Yes, Mataji. Okay. So I'm just seeing all of that. Yes. So just summarizing it. So whatever both of you mentioned is correct. Uh, yeah. So the Vaishnavas are very compassionate, right? So even though even so they actually are always. So actually Krishna is also very merciful, right? And Krishna is sending the spiritual master, right? You have to understand. So though it like we have discussed, right? The living conditioned souls of the material world are just like the lost children of the father. The father has lost the children and he is always anxious to get them back. So he is just finding for some opportunity to give mercy. And that's why we see the story, many stories, where actually we see that sometimes very sinful people are also getting the Lord's mercy. He's just taking, even though the story of Damodar program we discussed, right? There was a story, it's mentioned in Padmaran, that is a rat. A rat actually, he is in a Vishnu temple, he actually will try to eat the ghee lamb. Ghee wick, no, ghee wick will be offered, right? Because it has nothing to eat, it eats the ghee wick. And because once he eat the ghee wick, the wick will get stuck to his mouth and it is not able to, throw it. And then, he burns. And while, because of heat, the mouse will keep jumping up and down. Like, so Lord will take this as, no, he's performing arati, that rat, and then he gives them liberation. I mean, he takes them to spiritual world. This is just an example, but there are many stories of sinful people, no, who unknowingly they take ekadashi, on an ekadashi they fast without knowing, or no, or they die, while sleeping in a Vishnu temple. So all these things, the Lord actually, even though they did not have intention, the Lord actually is just waiting for some chance. It's like, just like somehow passing the people, even though you are not able to pass the exam, somehow you are finding some way to give marks. Like that, the Lord is actually always anxious to give, no, to save the living entity. So he directly comes, or no, he sends his representative. The spiritual master is a bona fide representative of the Supreme Lord. And then these people are always the Vaishnavas, they are also compassionate like Lord, and always they are looking for opportunity, how to deliver the people who are suffering in the material world. Right. So if one gets an association of such a pure devotee, we should consider ourselves as very, very fortunate. Okay, that is one point. One second, there is some disturbance here. Let me just 1 second. Yeah. So the second part actually is the causal mercy of Supreme Lord is first. So basically, this is like a chicken egg kind of thing. Which is first? Okay, whether we get the spiritual master or whether we get Krishna. What is the answer?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I
Hmm.
feel both the ways, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
I feel both the ways. By the mercy of the Lord, as you said, as other Matajis mentioned, by our punya, we come here to get to know our spiritual master, and by our spiritual master and all you Prabhujis, we hold your hand and we again reach to God, Prabhuji.
Yeah, it's very
I
interesting
think
actually.
so.
See,
Sorry, Prabhuji, if I'm
no,
wrong.
no, 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 it's correct. So basically, it's like this. See, basically, uh, so sometimes no, there are two ways. One is actually by our pious activity. We may get in touch with the spiritual master. But sometimes just because we are sincere, right? So spiritual master, basically the Lord is present in everybody's heart as Chaitya Guru, right? As Paramatma, Ishvara Sarva Bhutana, Hrideshe Arjuna Tishtati. So the Lord actually is always present. See, the point when when the living entity leaves the spiritual world, 1 second. The point from when the living entity leaves the spiritual world, the Lord also accompanies the living entity. He is always present. Like we see the example, then Shvedashadra Upanishad talks about Kada Upanishad also. The two birds sitting on the tree, right? The Lord in the form of Paramatma is like a friend. He is accompanying the Jivatma in his journey from the spiritual world to the material world, and all throughout all his existence in the material world, the Paramatma is there with the living entity. He is not of the Chaitya Guru. So this Chaitya Guru is always understanding each and every activity of the Jiva's desires, what are his intention, each and every activity the Jiva does. He's a witness. He's Anumanda and Upadishta, right? He's observing and then he's permitting. So this Chaitya Guru is always understanding what is the Jivatma desire. So when the living entity becomes desirous, or when he becomes sincerely he is seeking for the knowledge, or when he develops a desire to go back. So when this happened, then the Paramatma, who is Chaitya Guru, right, the Guru within the heart, he directs the Jiva to a spiritual master, right? So basically, the Lord is working through the spiritual master as well as Paramatma. So he will also send a spiritual master to the Jivatma. The spiritual master also is looking for the Jiva, the conditioned soul who is suffering. So basically, the Lord makes an arrangement by which the Jivatma can meet the spiritual master. So the spiritual master is told that he is sent by the Lord actually that way. Right? The Lord is arranging the spiritual master for the living entity based on the sincerity. So both ways actually. So first the Paramatma as a Guru, Chaitya Guru, he actually directs us to a spiritual master, bona fide spiritual master, who is actually present before us, right? Who is a person. And by the mercy of this spiritual master, he actually again gives us Krishna, who is Supreme Lord. Like that it works actually in both ways. Is that clear, devotees?
Yes, Prabhuji.
The last paragraph. What are the points? Or some Sushil Prabhu is not telling anything. Sushil Prabhu and Chetan
Uh,
Prabhu, you can make some points in this paragraph. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. A little bit I'm not well, Prabhuji, so
Okay,
I'm
no problem,
listening.
Prabhu. Okay. So, Sushil Prabhu, would you like to say some points on this paragraph, last paragraph?
Yeah, Prabhuji, actually, uh, ulti actually, due to only Krishna's mercy, uh, that's what we get the devotional service path actually,
Hmm.
and yeah, again the chanting and hearing the Supreme Lord's name, that is basic in any devotional service.
Yes. Yes,
Uh,
Prabhu. And there's an analogy which is given in this, no?
yeah,
What is an analogy?
seed. I mean, even if whatever fruit we get to the tree, but the seed is very important, and that seed is here the chanting and hearing the whole name, holy name of Supreme Lord. So that is a kind of analogy we can say.
Okay, good. Okay, other devotees, could you like to add some points or maybe elaborate a little more detail? What is analogy? So basically, there is a complete analogy given, right? The entire process is given. So if you understood, I would like to hear from some of you. What is the analogy here?
Prabhuji here, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Here a seed is sown, like for example, our chanting and hearing the holy names. and slowly it starts sprouting and it grows and it enters the atmosphere. The plant is grown, and more we water it by chanting and hearing the Lord's names.
Mm.
So, and then it reaches the Brahma Jyoti. Then from there gradually it enters the Golok Vrindavana, and finally it reaches its goal, that is the lotus feet of Krishna himself.
Yes.
So by watering, that is the analogy it is given, it is compared to our chanting and hearing the names, it is compared to um, growing a plant, big plant, a large, huge plant from a small seed.
Yes.
That is the analogy given, Prabhuji.
Yes, Nadaji, very nice. Yeah. So basically, the seed actually is the devotional service, bhakti, right? It is mentioned as Bhakti Lata
Yes,
Beach.
yes, Prabhuji.
So
That is
basically,
Bhakti. Bhakti
yeah,
is a bija.
yeah, Bhakti is a seed. So basically, a pure devotee, when we associate as a pure devotee, right? Actually, by their mercy, we get the seed, right? So, this is mentioned like, when we associate with devotee, it's mentioned that what is the lava matra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy, right? So basically, it means that even a moment, lava is actually a small unit of time, which is very small. Okay, even if a moment, if you are able to associate with a pure devotee, lava matra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy, we can get the ultimate perfection just by associating for a very small moment, right? So that is why the association of pure devotees is very, very rare, right? And whenever we get an opportunity, we should associate with pure devotees. So if that devotee becomes merciful with us, he is satisfied or no by serving the devotee, if he decides to give the mercy, right? Because the pure devotee is already having the Krishna prem, it can be this Krishna prema can be only given by somebody who is having, right? So when we associate with the pure devotee, he actually gives the seed. Initially, he gives the seed. He may not directly give the fruit. Actually, fruit is Krishna prema. So he gives the seed, and it's up to us to how are we going to nourish the seed. So first of all, meeting a spiritual master is the most fortunate thing to happen, right? And once you meet a spiritual master, getting the seed is the next thing. And after getting the seed also, it is possible that like the seed can the plant it may not sprout, or it can get the plant may get destroyed in any time. So it is for us to very, very carefully take care of this seed, what nourish it actually, by the different process, the navavidha bhakti is there, shravanam kirtanam vishnu sparanam padasevanam archanam mandanam dasyam sakyam atma nivedanam. So these are the 9 process devotional surveys. By doing all of them, or like chanting, we discussed chanting is very powerful. By chanting alone, actually we can nourish the plant, but we can do everything so that our chances are again improving. Just like we are putting more different kinds of manuals, right? We can just put water and some simple manual, but we can put more like different manuals so that the chances are better. Like that, we can do all the devotional services possible, and we have to nourish the plant. So the plant sprouts first, then we have to pour water, take care of the thing, right? Then there will be some, actually it is more details are mentioned, like it is mentioned that some weeds will grow, some unwanted plants may grow along with this seed, along with the bhakti plant. Like the unwanted seeds are like our material desires, we may develop some other material desires which are not favorable. So these things we have to pluck out, then the weeds has to be plucked out, and we have to fence it properly, otherwise some cow can come and eat a plant, right? Like that, actually different things, there are different things which are waiting to attack the bhakti lata. Like maybe it can be other envious people, various things, actually our own internal problems, right? All these things are trying to destroy this creeper all the time. So we have to fence it by different ways of fencing. One way of fencing is like association of devotees, being in satsang, right? Associating with Vaishnavas, the bhakti lata can be protected to some extent, right? And no and then like developing different qualities, right? Sincerely doing the sadhana, like chanting the holy names, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, doing deity worship, going to holy places. All these things will help us to protect and nourish the Bhakti Lata. And there is something called a mad elephant offense, okay, which actually like just like a mad elephant, if it enters a plantain, there's a plantain banana farm. When when the mad elephant enters the banana farm, actually it will completely devastate the banana farm. It uproots everything and completely destroy it. Nothing will be left. So the mad elephant offense in bhakti is actually the offenses that we commit against other Vaishnavas. When you do offenses to other Vaishnavas, right? When we blaspheme the devotees, or when we make when we insult other devotees, or when we make them very what you call offend them, right? So then actually that is compared to a mad elephant. So the Vaishnava Aparad, it is called Vaishnava Aparad. So this is the greatest offense that we can do in the bhakti process. So we should be very, very careful to avoid any offenses committed against other Vaishnavas, right? So and then it's difficult to know who is a Vaishnava, so better not to offend anybody. right? So, but if you offend, then it can completely destroy the devotional creeper. That is the most dangerous offense, right? So we should protect the creeper, and if you are taken care nicely, it is mentioned, no, it actually can go till the spiritual world. Basically, our destination is spiritual world, right? And when it is completely mature, it can actually give the fruit. The fruit is the Krishna Prema, is the topmost. The Krishna Prema is called the fruit, of devotional service. So that is what actually is mentioned in the summary. Any questions about this? Is everything clear?
Yes, Prabhuji.
I hope everything is clear. Can you share how you came to Krishna consciousness? This is a question I would like to ask today. I think other thing we already discussed, right? Discuss the obstacles, difficulties you are facing while chanting 16 rounds. How do you plan to overcome them? I think we discussed in detail. Okay. Can you share how you came to Krishna consciousness briefly?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
I came to Krishna conscious by Corona Prabhuji.
Seriously?
Seriously, Prabhuji. My
You were
mother-in-law
attending already
was
with your mother program, no? Earlier also.
no. My mother-in-law was attending, Prabhuji, not me. My son
Okay.
was pretty young. That was around 7 years early, Prabhuji. Since my mother-in-law was paralyzed, there was no contact. Then also, only my mother-in-law was attending. My son was very young, so I was not able to go.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a huge gap after that. I couldn't do anything because nothing was there online, no. And due to Corona, everything came to online. And that's the real truth, Prabhuji.
So when did you start, Mataji? First session?
Our first session with Mataji was from April 29th, Prabhuji,
Okay.
of
Very
last.
nice. Yeah, so you are able to become very serious in very short period of time. That's very good.
Yeah. I don't know, Prabhuji. It's God's mercy. I think I don't know how far He will take me. I hope and pray I'm able to continue.
That's what we should all daily, every day we should pray that we should not leave or we should not give up the association of the Lord. No, we should continue in this path. That is, should be our daily prayer. Like we should think about this. We should think that this bhakti is like a very delicate creeper. No, very delicate creeper. No, very easily it can be just crushed by any animal or anything. So if you are not careful, it's very can be the way in which it came, it can go away also. So we should always pray sincerely to the Lord, that please engage me in your devotional service and help me to continue in devotional service.
Yeah,
Yes,
Prabhuji. Sure.
thank you, Mataji.
Thank you,
So,
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Sushil Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Actually, from last one and a half year, uh, actually,
You can tell the first instance, when you got as contact with devotees, maybe briefly. I think you mentioned to me, I know, but I know just as part of the discussion,
yeah,
you can
okay,
share.
okay. Devotee, yeah, actually, I know ISKCON from a long time. Actually, I used to uh, means uh, from my interest only. I used to watch the videos online only, but I was not having any. I used to go to temple also in Pune, but one of time. And watching the online videos of Amrendra Prabhuji's, I found, I mean, he's interesting actually. His lectures
Mm.
interesting. But the contacts, if you say, I mean, some devotee contact I got last year, not last year, 2019. On the day of Ram Navami, I got contact with Pransaki Mataji.
Mm.
In Duke, I met her in a book distribution at Hanuman Temple
Mm-hmm.
in that Harlur. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That time I was living in that Harlur Road apartment.
Mm.
Uh, and yeah, after that I think in June I I got associated with our Bhakti Kudlu Gate center
Mm-hmm.
actually. So those Vijay Prabhu, then
Yeah. Amarajit Prabhu.
yeah, Aparajit Prabhu, yeah, those people actually I got associated, and I used to go to that on every Sunday. I attended almost every Sunday. Yeah.
Okay, how do
Yeah.
you feel now, Amarajit Prabhu? Like till now, how are you feeling? Your journey?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I told last session also, because I feel that I have wasted my most of the productive lifetime in some very non-usable thing.
Mm.
Means I should have as I was knowing the ISKCON from long time, but why I could not connected with the people. I should
Mm.
have connected to the people earlier if I
Yeah.
know the ISKCON. So that mistake I did, and I feel that guilty actually. I should have started earlier, so that I think I could not struggle to stand the rounds properly by this time. I should be. I mean, if I would have contacted earlier to associated with the devotees earlier, I could have progressed much better by now.
Yeah.
That's what I feel.
Yes, bro. Better late than never, this, But I think still
Yeah.
you're not old or something, no? You still have a lot of time left, actually. So, but we should take it as a serious emergency. We don't know exactly how long.
Yeah, we don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what. Yeah,
Okay, Mataji. Thank you. Prabhu, thanks.
thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah.
So, Mataji.
You're asking me, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji.
Uh, Prabhuji, July end or something, Satya Mataji rang me up and said that ISKCON is starting with a new Gita class, Bhagavad Gita class, and things like that. And since I had not read the Bhagavad Gita, I mean, I read summaries and everything, but I had not done it, verse by verse. I said,
Mhm.
okay, I joined Prabhuji. That's how it started. I think July last week. That's when I
Mhm.
started, Prabhuji.
Okay, so what do you think till now?
I was just thinking when you started this most fortunate soul. I
Mhm.
think I'm one of the fortunate souls. Otherwise, I would not have known anything. So
Mhm.
in association with this whole group, knowing more about Krishna, knowing reading the Bhagavad Gita, chanting, all this is I'm really fortunate. Otherwise, I would have been ignorant. Ignorant in the sense I I am a Vaishnavite. I mean, I used to, Vishnu,
Mhm.
but all these processes and different devotional steps, nothing. I didn't know anything about that. I used to
Mhm.
just pray to the Lord Vishnu. That's all.
Mhm. Okay, Mataji. So, did you used to sing, like, chant this Vishnu Sahasranam or something earlier?
I used to, yes, Prabhuji. Not by heart. I don't know by heart, but I
Mhm.
used to read.
Okay. So, do you think you should have started earlier, much earlier, or like
I'm
like our
happy I
other Prabhuji?
started, Prabhuji.
Huh?
I never look back because
Okay.
there are no regrets.
Okay.
I'm happy I started it. That's all.
Uh,
So whatever life I've got, I will do. And otherwise, hopefully in my next janma, I don't know. I'll continue. As Mataji
yes.
said, we continue from where we left. So I
Yes.
will learn.
Yes.
I'll do as much as I can in this life. No regrets, Prabhuji, because this is what God intended. He gave me
Mhm.
the mercy to start now, not earlier, because he had his reasons. Otherwise, I would have started earlier. So that was not meant to be. Not meant is God's will was not there. So now it just came. That means God intended me to, the Lord intended me to start now. So I'll continue, Prabhuji. No
Okay.
regrets.
Very
Yes.
nice. You're very positive. Good. Yeah. So that's true, Mataji. So ultimately, for everything, there's a time. But yeah, but no, still devotees actually, they think like this actually, like I should have started earlier. In the sense, I missed some time actually, like that's all actually. So, but there's nothing like, somebody. There are many places where it is asked how much time that we need to put to become perfect, right? Prabhupada actually used to tell that only one moment. He used to give the example of a story of there is a king called Katwang Maharaj, right? So basically, it depends on how sincerely, how seriously, and how what you call there is Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, it is mentioned, right? So how intensely we are actually performing, right? So then if you intensely, if you are able to intensely do devotional service, then we can actually become perfect in a very fast time. So we can do various activities. No, most important is association of devotees. So the more we associate, then the more we can make progress. So it's like tivra. Tivra means the intense, right? Tivrena bhakti yogena. So the more we are, how much we are sincere, that much more intensely we can do actually. So no, even less, very less time is sufficient for that. Right. Only thing is that we people take it lightly, and then it take very long time. So and then going to the next life is highly risky. Prabhupada always used to tell that you should finish the business in this lifetime, because see, though there is a guarantee that no salpam abhyasya dharmasya trayade magado bhayat. Even if a small progress you make, it is never lost. That is true, but we don't know, right? Again, we have to undergo so much of difficulties, right? No, like taking birth, actually, it's a very painful process. And after that, again, you have to start from ABCD. Well, if you get a human birth, no, definitely we will get, because we did some devotional activity. You'll again start, go to the nursery, start ABCD, and the new generation, no, generations keep changing, right? Every generation is more and more materialistic, so the situations are more riskier actually. So we should sincerely endeavor, our best to finish it in one lifetime, this lifetime. That's what our previous acharyas, Prabhupada, everybody is saying. What do you say, Chitra Mataji? Agree or?
No, Prabhuji, I won't finish it this lifetime. We are too,
No,
basic. We are just at the basic step, Prabhuji. But whatever time I have left, I will do my best. But I won't look back and regret.
no.
That's
You see, you
definite.
cannot. You can definitely do in one lifetime, Mataji.
I
It is
don't know,
possible.
Prabhuji.
You are not 80 years, no? I don't think so.
No, I'm nearly there, Prabhuji.
You are elder
But
to Satya Mataji?
anyway, whatever is left, Prabhuji,
No, Mataji,
it's
sir,
not
that's
the
what I'm saying.
time.
It is
The time
possible.
is not
So,
important, Prabhuji. It's the quality, not the quantity of time left.
see,
Is
ultimately,
the
it all
way
depends
you
on.
use that. It's the way you use your remaining time that is important.
See, what is most
Not
important,
I may
Mataji?
have 50 years to live, but I may not do anything. I
Correct.
may have 5 years to live, but I may concise devotional service. It all depends on how much effort, endeavor on
Correct.
my part, Prabhuji.
Most important, Mataji, is your sincerity. No, do you sincerely desire? If you have a sincere desire that I want to complete the spiritual life, or try to become perfect in one lifetime. If you have a sincere desire, then the Lord actually can Lord actually is all powerful, right? He has created everything, all these things, entire creation. So he can do anything by his power, and by the power of other Vaishnavas. Anything is possible, Mataji. But first is that we should have a sincere desire. We should very sincerely endeavor that I want to. Then I think this definitely Lord will fulfill it
Yes, Prabhuji.
for sure. But it depends. If you are not ready to go, then that's a different matter. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Bharati Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I too, with this Corona lockdown period only, I too joined Prabhuji.
Yes.
But I had read Bhagavad Gita book simply like that. I had read, but I couldn't understand. So I asked my friend Swati Gupta. She was there in association with Mataji, Pranasiki Mataji.
Mm-hmm.
She only added me to this group, Prabhuji.
Yes. So
So
Swati Mataji,
from
you work with
March.
her. Huh? How do you know Swati Mataji?
Yeah, Swati, she was my colleague
Okay.
in Bethany School.
Okay. Sarjapur.
So
That's
from
that place. Huh?
she gave me Bhagavad Gita and also the beads. In 2016 itself she had given.
Okay.
But I didn't take anything seriously. I had kept like that, but I was reading. Whenever I found time, I was reading. And lastly, I told her I couldn't understand so much better. Simply, I'm reading. So then she told me, you attend class, then you will attend. You will be able to understand. She told, and she only introduced me to Mataji, and I'm very very fortunate to be in this group. And all the things are falling in place in my life also. I was actually we were praying to Durga Devi. We are the devotees of Durga Devi. So I was not much, and Ishvara and Lord Shiva we were praying. So not much of Vishnu and all. Now I have taken Krishna also in our altar, and he has put everything in place. And so much improvement has taken in this time. And Corona has become very fortunate for me.
Okay, good, Mataji.
Thank
See,
you,
ultimately,
thank you, Prabhu.
Lord knows everybody's heart. No, according to different devotees'
Uh,
desire, He actually will act in our life.
yes.
So
So,
yeah. So basically, one thing we have to remember is that no, uh,
mm,
see, ultimately, the Lord's mercy may not come in the form of material success. No, no, it is
yes,
also important
Prabhuji.
for us to become happy in a material life. But we, as
Mm,
we know, understand know what is the position of our living entity, what is soul, and what are the relationship. All these material things we are know that it is all temporary, right? So we
yes,
should not
Prabhuji.
think, okay, this is good only. It has given you faith. Somehow the Lord actually wants to give you faith, right? So for you, whatever is required, Lord actually is giving that, so that no, your faith is strong. But we have to understand that if suppose if we lose the material situation, now we should not give up the Lord. Okay, we have to understand
No,
what is our
no,
original, what is
Prabhuji.
our real destination. We have to be clear.
So,
Yes.
previously, when we were having
Mm,
shortage of material things,
mm.
then that time also our heart will not be going towards the Lord. We will be hankering for things.
Yeah.
We don't have this, we don't have that. So that position is not there now.
Mm.
So we can concentrate on the Lord. We can do chanting peacefully. Uh,
Yes.
that also is important. Material things also little important. No, Prabhuji.
Yes.
So
Sure.
that automatically it has come now.
Yeah. Yes. That's
Since
what. That is the
March.
power of, yeah, devotees.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, that's what. So that is why the philosophical part we learn is important. It is because if it is only based on sentiment, no, then actually we may give it up after some time. So that is why we have to
No,
understand the
no, no,
philosophy.
Prabhuji.
What is the actual
Now,
position of our? What is the purpose of human life? What is our destination? So these things
mm,
we should be very clear so that no, we will not become bewildered later. Something goes wrong.
mm, yes, Prabhuji. Now that strong foundation is there, we will not go. We will not become bewildered, Prabhuji.
Yes. Okay, very nice.
So
Okay. I
thank
think
you, Prabhuji.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Chetan Prabhu, you want to share something, or you're not able to talk? Raji Mataji, I think she may not be comfortable talking, I guess. Okay, then I think yeah, we can end the session here today. Maybe I'll quickly read one minute. I'll take more so that we can complete this session completely. I'll read about preaching his essence. A Vaishnava shows compassion towards sinful suffering entities. Prahlad Maharaj is a topmost example of a Vaishnava who is always compassionate towards sinful persons suffering a hellish life within this material world. Krishna is therefore known as Paradukka Dukhi, Kripambudi, or one who is compassionate towards other suffering and who is an ocean of mercy. Like Prahlad Maharaj, all pure devotees of the Lord come to this material world with full compassion to deliver the sinful. They undergo all kinds of tribulation, suffering from them with tolerance because that is another qualification of Vaishnava who is tries to deliver all sinful persons from the hellish condition of material existence. The chief concern of a Vaishnava is to deliver the fallen soul. So this is the importance of preaching. Why we should preach, right? And paradukka dukhi is very important thing. This means that paradukka dukhi. So this means this is a quality of Vaishnava. When he sees that somebody else is dukhi, then he also becomes dukhi. Okay. But in material world now you see that everybody is paradukka sukhi. When your neighbor or when other person becomes sad, you will be happy, you rejoicing internally, like that. So this is the general nature of materialist. But a Vaishnava is opposite. He cannot tolerate the suffering of other living entities, whether he is suffering materially or otherwise. No, he cannot tolerate. So he wants to deliver or give the knowledge to others. So that is paradukka dukhi. And kribambudhi means ocean of mercy. So these qualities we should try to develop, and no, and then we try to continue preaching as or in whatever possibility we can. Like for example, our Chitra Mataji was saying, na Satya Mataji, she just informed her actually, like many people, like for example Swati Mataji also, she just told you to attend the session, right? So that we can do always, no, we can tell more people that no, please, there's a session. So we may not be able to preach extensively in the beginning. Whatever is possible in our capacity, we should try to do small things. We can just inform, just send a link, just persuade to attend the program. So that is also sufficient, right? So that is also preaching. So whatever in our capacity, we should always try to see opportunities where actually we can preach and give the message to others. So that should be our mood. Okay, so with that, I think we will end the session today. Thank all devotees for waiting so much time. It took a little more.